Hi. So today I want to teach you guys how to light a lab burner. Okay. Now this right here, this device, in my opinion, is what differentiates chemistry from all other classes. Okay. Let's put it this way. In this class, not only are you allowed to light fires, you're expected to. You try to light a fire like English class, they're going to expel you. So I want to make sure that you guys know how to use this tool effectively and safely. All right? And basically what this does is it combines gas from the table valves and oxygen from the air. And by mixing it together in just the right proportions, it can produce a very, very hot flame. All right? Now, real quickly, the different parts of it, you have the base, you have the barrel, and you have the tip. Now, of all the parts of this, when this is lit, you can touch everything, move it around, everything like that, except the brass tip. This is the only part that while it's on, if you touch it, it'll burn you. The barrel gets a little warm, but it's not going to get hot enough to burn you. It's insulated. You'll be fine. Okay? Now, there's also two adjustments that you can make on here. You have on the very bottom, this is the gas adjustment valve. And basically, it works kind of like the faucet handle, okay? Where you can, if you go to the right, it tightens it, and that kind of screws it up into the base. The tighter it is, the less gas comes in. The more open it is, the more gas that comes in. And what that basically does is that adjusts the height of the flame. Now the other adjustment is right here. This is the air vents, okay? And this allows the oxygen in. And you control the air vent by taking the entire barrel and twisting. If you twist it like a lid on a jar and close it, I don't know if you can see, but you can see now that there are threads visible and the window is smaller. And then if I keep going, it closes it more and more. What that controls is the temperature. The less open it is, the cooler the flame. The more open it is, the more oxygen comes in, the hotter the flame. All right? Now, when you're lighting one of these, there are like 5 steps that you got to do. All right? In no particular order. You just want to kind of mentally check them off. And the first one is you have to be properly attired. All right? Which means if you have long hair, it touches your shoulders, it has to be tied back into a ponytail. All right? And you have to make sure all your hair stays behind your shoulders. You also have to have a lab apron and goggles on. Now your lab apron and goggles look like this. All right, they look like this. Now when you're wearing these, all right, you want to make sure that the white side is on the inside. It goes over your neck. If it's too long or too short, you can either tie or untie a knot here in order to adjust it. But when you're doing it, you also have to make sure that these are tied behind your back. All right, you can get your lab partner to do it if you can't quite reach. You can ask me. You have to do it, but that way it wraps around your body and protects you. This side is both spill-proof and also flame retardant, and it will help prevent your clothing from catching on fire or from getting ruined from chemicals, okay? But if you just have it like this does no good. It's not a necktie. It's not going to help you out at all, okay? So you want to make sure it's tied behind your back. The goggles, again, you can adjust them by tying or untying knots. They go up and over, and if you're wearing glasses, they go over your glasses. But this way you have like a spill-proof area. These are both spill-proof and shock absorbent. So if there's any type of explosion or anything like that, these will protect you. You must have these on over your eyes at all times in the lab area whenever you have fire or any type of dangerous chemical. Okay? Now, so you got to be properly attired. That's one step. Another step is you want to make sure that the hose is properly attached onto the nozzle. And they should already be attached, but just give it a little gentle tug and make sure. Because what you do is if you have an apparatus that you're going to be heating up, you know, let's say a beaker of water or something like that, you want to make sure that you light this away from it and then move it underneath once you have it fully adjusted. So when you're moving it, you don't want the hose to accidentally pop off. So just give a little tug, make sure it's good. All right. Oh, and by the way, a quick word about the gas valves. The gas valves, basically they have the nozzle with the hose that's on top, okay, excuse me, the hose that goes onto the nozzle. And then on top, they have a little flag handle. Now, it is off when the flag is perpendicular to the nozzle, either side. So this is off, that's off as well. On is when it is perfectly parallel to the nozzle. So if you can see here, this is off, that's off, that's on, okay? So then you want to make sure about the gas. This is the next thing. You want to make sure you have the right amount of gas that's coming into it, okay? And the way you do that is with the gas adjustment valve on the bottom. Now you don't know where this was left by the person before you. So the best way to do it is you go ahead and you tighten it by twisting it like you're turning off a faucet. You tighten it all the way to close it. And then you immediately reopen it by turning it at least about a 3/4 of a complete turn to a complete turn, so somewhere in that area, all right? And that should give you the perfect amount of gas to give you the exact correct amount of height, all right? Next, you want to make sure that the air vents are all the way closed. It makes lighting it so much easier, okay? So you just go and you turn the barrel like you're closing a lid on a jar, and you just twist, twist, twist until it won't twist anymore, okay? And you don't have to tighten it, you just want to close it. Next, you want to make sure that your sparker is working. Now this right here is literally the oldest technology on the face of the planet, okay? This is basically how, Neanderthals made fire, by hitting two rocks together. That only works if one of the rocks is flint. And that's what we got right here, a little piece of flint. It's actually artificial flint, but it's still flint right here. And when you take that flint and you strike it against something harder, in this case, a little metal file on the inside, it will make a spark, all right? Now the trick to these is, if you just push sideways, you may or may not get a spark, probably not. You have to apply a force this way. You want to take that flint and strike it hard against the file. So you want to make sure you position your thumb so that you can push it this way as well as to the side. So kind of in a diagonal way so that you can get a good spark. And you want to make sure you can do that when it's upside down facing away from you. Let's put it this way. If you can see a good spark from the back side, that means you're good, okay? So you got it all set up and you got your goggles on, all right? Got your goggles on. And you go ahead and you turn on the gas, remember, parallel to the nozzle. Now you should be able to hear the gas. If you can't hear the gas, make sure you've opened the valve correctly, okay? The gas adjustment valve. Now, when you're all set and ready, you want to make sure that you go ahead and do it. Now don't freak out. Freaking out is what causes people to get hurt, all right? I can leave this gas on for hours and I can light it and there's no problem. So don't worry about you have to light it quickly or anything. Just calm yourself, collect it, and go for it. Now, if the first time it doesn't light, try readjusting your hand. You can use two hands or whatever, and then go ahead and light it. All right? Now, notice I didn't freak out, okay, when I lit it, because that's the only time I ever got anybody injured is when they light it and they go, ah, they freak out and they knock stuff over, they bump into the person behind them, knocking them into the fire and so forth. So just treat these like, like a wild animal. Burners can smell fear. So you always want to approach it with confidence and you should be okay. All right? Now, this right here is the coolest flame that that this thing produces. It really cannot hurt you, okay? As long as it's just a brief thing. You got your hair tied back, so forth and so on. So don't be afraid of it. But because it's such a cool flame, it'll take forever to heat up a beaker of water, for example. So we want to increase the temperature. And the way that you increase the temperature is by reopening the air vents, okay? So unscrewing the barrel, okay? If you do it a little bit, then if you notice it turns blue. Now, this right here is a little bit hotter flame. This is, though, the coolest flame that we would ever be using in a lab. So if I ever say, what? Anywho, hold on, stop it. All right. So that's a light blue flame there, and that's the coolest flame that you're ever going to be using. Now, you want to keep opening it up, all right? You want to keep opening it up so that it gets even hotter. Now, you want to keep going, 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 going until the hottest flame is when you cannot see the threads of the screw through the little windows. Now, that is the hottest flame. Notice I'm not putting my hand through that, okay? Now, you see the tight blue triangle there? That is where all the heat gets focused into it, all right? Now, we want that tip to be just underneath where the beaker is. So we adjust it by turning the gas adjustment valve. Remember, that changes the height. We can make it go lower, we can make it go higher, all right? So we want to adjust it when we put it underneath here. We want to adjust it so that the tip is just underneath the beaker, all right? So then you put it over there, you cook it, you do your lab, and when you're all done, you turn it off at the source all the way. And that's how you light a lab burner.